So innovation and automation options, the data lake options in BTP. So all those theoretical things that we have seen in our day one session, we'll be realizing these things in our today's session. So we'll be, this is your on-prem system. This is your on-prem SAP system. And to interact with this SAP on-prem system, we generally need some kind of SAP Cloud connector, so which we generally install in our DMZ zone in virtual machine. So let's say like this is your virtual machine. And in this particular virtual machine, you already have installed your SAP Cloud Connect. You are now ready to use your APIs services within your on-prem system that you have already have. So now let's come into the BTP topics. So in BTP, let's say like you want to build a flexible application, imagine this is a chatbot application that you want to build in BTP. And in this chatbot application, this is the user interacting with the application. As I said, this is a chatbot application. This is chatbot is built on top of SAP CI, that is conversational AI. We could have used any other user interface technology. Basically here I wanted to show you, okay, so in BTP, the main intention is to build the simplistic, flexible, user-friendly, most intuitive based applications, which you can give it to the user so that user can do certain operations, be it like Fiori, mobile application, or the chatbot application, anything. So as because we will be learning the chatbot application in our subsequent session, that's the reason we are bringing this chatbot here. So in this chatbot application, let's say the user wants to create the sales order. So how it will be happening? So let's say like user wants to log in, first user logged into the chatbot application, and then the user is asking the bot like show me all the materials. I'm just giving some example here. Or maybe like the user can ask the bot like give me some material with some specific price information. Let's say like with some specific price range. Or maybe after having all those details, getting it out of your on-prem system, user can place the sales order. Let's say like user is saying place sales order for material on, something like that. So this is a normal application. Now let's say like you have this application, but on top of this application, let's say your company already wants to set up some threshold limit, like the customer will not be able to buy the material beyond some threshold limit. Let's say the quantity is becoming more than 100 or 1000 as the threshold limit that you have already set for your particular material based sales order. So in that case, your company wants to go via some approval process if the threshold limit cross. So in that case, what we can do is we can actually have the cloud workflow. So for our approval process. So let's say like this is your cloud workflow. And in this particular workflow, the user, the approver can either approve or reject, right? Approve or reject the sales order, which is flowing from our application. So obviously user, the manager who will be actually approving or rejecting, the person can see the detail, whatever the order has been placed. And based on that, if everything goes well, or if there is no kind of like approval process required, if it is under the threshold, obviously it goes to the backend system and creates the sales order. So via some API. So as because we wanted to use the OData API that already we have in our backend system, the standard OData APIs. So let's say like this is your, I can take this one. Let's say this is your OData. And after the approval process, as I'm saying, it will go to the backend system. And create the sales order using the API. Okay, so far it is good. Like here I was saying it goes to the approval process and then it creates the sales order. So far it is good. Now the point is, okay, let me bring some more points and bring your attention here. So let's say like you wanted to build heavy business logics. So it's not a simple application. You wanted to build heavy business logics. Like if you wanted to build something like, let's imagine you wanted to build heavy business logic, something like material availability, or maybe like some heavy discount or rebate kind of logic, or complex maybe pricing calculation, or maybe let me bring you some more example, like let's say the credit limit check. So there could be a number of scenarios or business logics operations that you wanted to build before giving the data to the user for the further operation. And these are, you can see, these are heavy business operations like the discount calculations, pricing calculations, credit limit check. So it would happen like, okay, now the question is, okay, so we will be analyzing whether all those things are possible directly using the standard OData APIs or not. So let me just tell you, like many times it happens like it would really not possible, okay, to actually use OData APIs for all those heavy business operations. So let me just give you some example. Okay, let's say like I'm just typing it here now. I hope you can see it. Yeah, so there could be like you have the APIs, or maybe like, so there is possibilities like you do not have the OData APIs for all of to fulfill all of your business logics, right? So I'm just typing it here so that you can take it as a note. There is lack of required data API to fulfill your business need. This is possible, right? Or there could be APIs are available, but in maybe like discrete manner. So this discrete manner means to fulfill the single custom functionality, maybe like you will be ending up with multiple APIs, let's say like 10, 15 APIs. So this is not good, right? And sometimes it happens like standard APIs are not having all the required fields, right? That you actually need for your business, right? Or it could happen like API can short of required business logic that you want to have for your purposes. Or it could happen like APIs are not very much efficient for heavy business logics. Like this is a generic scenario. I will explain this thing. Because let's say you have the APIs, you have required fields, but let's say when you wanted to build this kind of discount, rebate, pricing calculation, credit limit check, you have to just collect all the data from the APIs, then you have to do the looping for all the records, then apply the corresponding business logics, and this is against the principle of code push down, right? So we generally have used, so previously we used to use normal ABAP, then we gone to the code push down technology, the CDS technology, where our logics generally being executed at our database layer or the near to the database side, right? So this is against the principle of code push down. Then I can say APIs are not good at performance, right? Because let's say like you wanted to deal with huge volume of data, and APIs generally use the HTTP protocol, so which is not so much efficient. If you want to deal with huge let's say like data in your app as it use HTTP protocol. And there is a biggest limitation. Sometimes it happens. There are some limitations of the API. Records pool limitation of the API. So if I take factor, success factor has a limit of 1,000 rows per call. Okay, so if you want to do some kind of business operations on top of the success factors data, so you have to do multiple calls, right, to get all the required data because there is a restriction. So I would say it is not like APIs are always bad, but we can say so APIs are good for efficient for process integration, but not for data integration or business data logics calculations. So what is the solution here? So you're saying there are different limitations, but what is the solution then in that case? The solution is, let me just minimize this. I'll give this note later one. So the solution here is the HANA Cloud. So you can bring the data near to your application. So previously I was discussing the APIs, which was not very much efficient for your business operations, but I was saying the process integration is absolutely fine with APIs. That means like kind of like this process. Okay, the sales order creation process. This is fine, absolutely fine. But to get the data, get the business operations, business logics ready, the calculations ready on top of the business data, it would not be very efficient all the time with the APIs. So the solution that I was bringing, that is the HANA Cloud. So let me just bring the HANA Cloud here. Let me just put it like this. Let's say like this is your HANA Cloud, and on top of this HANA Cloud, you can build your business logics. Okay, so previously we have seen on top of the HANA Cloud, we can build our business logic inside different containers, right? So let's say like these are the different containers. And as I was saying, like these are the business logics we wanted to build on top of the standard objects, standard tables or standard CDSs, okay, which are there in our on-prem system. Let's say like I am bringing the table like Mara. So I'm just taking some example. PBAK, PBAP. These are the standard tables. So on top of this standard tables, we can build. So these are the standard table. On top of the standard table, we can build our calculation view. We can build our SQL procedure and so on. So where from this data will be coming? It will be coming from the backend that I was telling you. So for that, we actually need the very efficient technology, that is the SDI. Okay, and for that we need data provisioning agent. Last day session we have already seen this thing. So the data will be then coming from our backend system to our HANA Cloud. And here let me just bring this SDI. So in between we have this SDI technology, and this particular SDI connection will happen through the remote source. Okay, and that remote source we can configure in HANA Cloud. That also we have seen in our last session. So now the next point is, so this is okay. Okay, so for the standard, on top of the standard data, we can build those kind of business logics, discount logics, pricing calculation logic, credit limit checking logics on top of the standard data. let's say like there are requirement. Okay, so before that, so let me just tell you. So if we have to do similar kind of thing, right? So you have to calculate the credit limit or some pricing calculations. Previously, we used to do different kind of enhancements using the baddies or user exits, those kind of enhancements. But as because we wanted to keep our core system clean as part of our this motivation, we wanted to bring the data from our on-prem system, and on top of that, we wanted to build our business logics here itself in our BTP layer. And we have already seen why we are not using the APIs for this particular purpose. But there could be some other requirements. What are the other requirements? Let's say you wanted to put the custom fields. So generally business needs some custom fields for custom logic development. Let's say when the customer is ordering some material, you wanted to capture the informations, the customer informations like the social security number or the PAN card information. As well as let's say you wanted to capture some more details of the customer address, some additional details, additional address detail, let's say. So these are the information, these are the custom fields which are not exist in the standard tables you wanted to capture from the customer order, from the customer side. So for this particular purpose, what we can do is we can actually have custom tables. Like I was creating this container. So here, let's say like this is your Z sales table. OK, so this is your Z sales table and these are the standard tables. So that means here I can draw it something like this. These are sorry. So these are the custom table and these are the standard tables. So standard tables, on top of the standard table, you can build your build your business logics. And for custom tables, let's say you want to capture this information from the customer and wanted to save it to the custom table, you can do it in Hana Cloud. Now you have your business logics, your custom data, also required data placeholders in Hana Cloud. And in our previous days, we have also seen the CAPM framework, right? So there also we can put our business logics, we can put the validation logics, we can define our structures, all those kind of things. Let me just put that as well in picture. So let's say this is your okay, and on this is your let's say CAPM framework, and on top of this you have your if you have your database. So we have seen the database module inside the CAPM, the app module inside the CAPM, right? I mean the SRC as well. Correct. So SRC Node.js. So either what you can do is you can, so you already have the calculation views, SQL procedure, those kind of things. You can do it here as well. Okay. And on top of that, you can put your business validation logics, and you can make your server side logics ready with CAPM framework. So this is your CAPM framework. I have to mention it somewhere. So this is your CAPM framework. And on top of this CAPM framework, when you wanted to use the APIs, so the business logics, right? So business logics operations, the calculations in your applications, the front end applications. Here in our scenario, it is a chatbot application. You wanted to expose that as a API. So we have already seen how to expose your business logics operations as a API from your CAPM layer itself. So let's say like this is your Okay, so let me just bring this one first. So this is your API. Similarly, I will draw. This is your API. And on top of this API, you can now consume those APIs in your application layer. So far, so good. Now user have the complete cycle. So let's say like this is your user. Sorry. Let's say this is your user. User now can query the operations data, and on top of that can do some kind of business transactions using the CI chatbot. So after placing the order, maybe user wants to know whether it got approved or not. Let's say like user placed the sales order more than 100 quantity or something like that, and user wants to know whether it processed successfully or not. Right. So that is a valid scenario. Correct. So for that purpose, what you can do is you can give the user some kind of like notification. Maybe in modern era, we can give the user notification in, let's say like WhatsApp. Okay. So that is also possible, very much possible in our cloud technology, in our BTP technology. And let's say user is getting the notification like this. Now it is kind of a complete cycle, right? But in the real world scenario, okay, maybe you will not create the sales order directly from your end user application and sitting in your on-prem application, right? Because maybe you are a big company and you are processing thousands or maybe sometimes like millions of sales orders, right? So hundred thousands of sales order, if it will come subsequently, so maybe it is not very much efficient to create or to process the sales order immediately in on-prem system. And there could be some other reason as well, but this is the major reason. So for that particular purpose, what we generally do is we can use Hana Cloud as your staging layer. Okay, so that means what I mean to say here is you can have the Hana Cloud. So before moving to that, okay, so I was discussing this topic like you have the custom field, right? So custom fields here in our custom tables in Hana Cloud, and these are our custom fields. And obviously, like let's say the please mute yourself, please. So on top of that, can you please mute yourself? Can you please mute yourself? Whoever is not talking. Yeah. So on top of that, let's say the user, the manager is rejecting the sales order. Those information also we need to set somewhere, right? We need to store somewhere. So for that purpose also we can use this custom table. Okay, so this is one of the scenario, another scenario where you can use the custom field, custom table technology. So as I was mentioning, okay, so it is not very much efficient to create the sales order online into your on-prem system, but to have a staging layer, you can use this Hana Cloud, and there also you can use some custom table as your staging layer, right? And in that particular stage layer, so let's say like you are collecting 100,000 sales order in a day, right? And when at the end of the day you want to accumulate or you want to then do the bulk sales order creation at your backend system, because SAP is always known as a backend system, right? Backend technology. So, so in that case, it will be efficient and there will not be any kind of disruption while the sales order is being created by the front end users, right? So it will be very much smooth. there will not be any disturbance. So let's say like you already have this custom tables as well as your sales order staging layer in Hana Cloud. And during the night, you want to take all those stage sales order and you want to create those sales order in on-prem system. So for that purpose also, we can use the job scheduling service in our BTP. So let's say like this is your job scheduling service. Let me just put it like this. So this is your job scheduling service, and this particular job scheduling service's job is to take the sales order detail that's from the stage table, right? And if something goes wrong, and it can also update, but primarily it will take the sales order from the stage table, and then it will give the instruction to the same API, the sales order creation API, to create the sales order in the backend system. This is the efficient way to create the sales order in a bulk way. But let's say you wanted to also monitor and wanted to check whether the job is being successful or not, right? So you want to have some kind of notification mechanism for your job scheduler as well. So for that purpose also in BTP, you can use the alert notification service. Let's say like this is your alert notification service. From here, it can go to the alert notification service, and it can also give you like the job is being successful or failure, both the scenario. And it can just send you some notification in Outlook or maybe in Microsoft Teams, whatever you want, because we have all the flexible technology here. We are now free developer, free person, while you are in BTP, that we have already discussed. So this is good. And on top of that, as because HANA Cloud is not only for this your single backend system storing purposes or some data operation purposes, but HANA can also treat it as a data lake. That means like if you are using multiple systems in your organization, obviously that is the scenario for every organization. You can collect the data from different systems and can actually aggregate the informations in HANA Cloud level itself. And on top of that, you can have some kind of analytics using like SAC maybe. Okay, the SAP Analytics Cloud. Let's say you wanted to do some kind of sales analytics, prediction, those kind of thing. You can do it in SAC. Let's say prediction as well. So in this SAC, you can do sales analytics, the sales prediction, those kind of things. You can do it in SAP Analytics Cloud. But here maybe you will be wondering, okay, so now you are saying we will be storing the data here. The cost will be huge, right? So for that purpose, in BTP, we already have the solution as data lake. So let's say this is your data lake. So data lake you can use as a cold storage for your data to reduce the cost. After let's say like after 1 year or 2 year, if you want to retire the data, you can put it into cold storage, and from the cold storage itself as well, from the data lake itself as well, you can pull the data for your SSE for your analytics purpose. And here I wanted to mention, from the HANA Cloud to SSE, we do have the live connections. So we can use the live connection to have kind of like real-time analytics on this SSE. And obviously we have also learned the different backing tools and framework and technology like the business application studio. If we have business application studio, we have learned extensively. We will be doing more and more operations inside business application studio. We have learned the destination service. Let's say like this is your destination service. This is your destination service. We have learned how to secure the applications, the backing services, the OData services that we build, right? And we have to actually learn one very important concept, that is not concept, very important technique, that is the transport management. Because without this, maybe it will be incomplete. So you can see, so we have almost all the technology, all the tools available in SAP BTP to fulfill any kind of business requirement.